but every department affects each other. And when you really truly go to those departments and understand their challenges, when you do that as a department, now you're working on the business.
Did you know that you're going to be a VP of transformation and strategy and all that good stuff 25 years ago? You were not.
Welcome to IT by Design's Culture and Career Corner with CEO Sunny Kaila. Today's guest is Ketan Patel, VP of Strategy and Transformation at IT by Design. Today, they chat about his career journey, IT by Design culture, and the lessons he wants to share with future generations of professionals. Over to you, Sunny.
Hello, KP. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sunny. Good morning. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. And I'm super excited today because, if there's one person who I wanted to bring to this show a long time ago was you, because, you have paid your dues here to earn that right to be here. And so I'm so glad that we made it happen. And I'm glad that we are here and going to have this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long overdue, but what a way to kick off the new year, right?
I didn't think of this that way. What a great start of 2023. So, KP, we're going to start with your career journey. So, can you please share your career journey with us, because it's so amazing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if I had to sum it up, I think it's been immense growth and many learnings and opportunities around the way. But, you got to start somewhere. And for me, this was my first, I would say, real job at corporate outside of the retail world and what I worked for outside of, just during college, right? So this is this April of 9 years for me here. And, when I say you got to start off with something, I started off just, helping with the pre-sale support and helping with, purchasing, and slowly worked into sales. And I think, two things that I show gratitude for every day is the opportunities that you get, right? That I had here at IT by Design to grow and move up year after year. Sometimes those opportunities are not there. The business need not there. But because of our growth and the way the company was growing, and I invested a lot in my personal growth, right? I come from a different background, and I was getting into more of the technology and the management, and it's just a lot of learning, right? You got to absorb as much as you can. And when the opportunity presents itself, you kind of move up. It's been an immense journey. And, they always say, you got to learn to enjoy the process. You can't just enjoy when you get to the destination. So for me, it was never a career journey, because the journey never stops, right? But if you learn to love the process in the journey, right? Love every step, take into consideration, reflect, and you have that growth mindset along the way, then, the journey becomes greater. So that's been my journey, right? It's just been all growth, a lot of learnings, a lot of relationships, that I build, a lot of, team members, and, we call ourselves a community. So I built a family here, and that's the amazing part. So yeah, I couldn't be any more happier.
I love the way you said it. Love the process, love the journey, not the destination, not the, so, it's a journey, right?
Yep.
So, thank you for, first of all, taking that journey with me, with IT by Design. Our relationship is now, it's not just kind of, just job and business and just that. It's a lot more than that. As you said, I feel like you are my family member, and I just heard that from you as well. So it's that family member type of feeling. And when you're taking that journey with people where you feel family, then life is so beautiful. And okay, so, one really very different thing about your journey, KP, is that you have worked in many different divisions. And I think that's a blessing that you got a lot of diverse experience, because that's what really entrepreneur leader will do. because entrepreneur leaders don't go to school for one thing or two things or three things. And I believe that comes from that very diverse kind of thinking and experience, that you can think sales, you can think delivery, you can think finance, you can think human resources, you can think all aspects of business, because that's what entrepreneurial leaders will have to do. You don't go to school just to learn HR or finance or something else. Yeah, that's one thing that I see in you, that not only because of your experience being in many different areas, but it's also your ability to think like an entrepreneur in many different areas. That is so unique to you. And you're about to find your unique ability by Strategic Coach Workshop as well.
Yep.
So you're going to have a lot more deeper dive into that, but a lot of diverse experience with a lot of entrepreneurial unique ability is what I see. Let's see what they see, but that's what I see working with you. But okay, so do you have any thought on the importance of putting yourself in different situations, different departments, I mean, to get that experience? Because you're sharing this with the next generation. So what's your advice to you based on your diverse experience? Is it good? Is it not good? Do you advise other people do or don't do?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important, and that's part of one of the reasons, I've been able to, bring success to my role and to the overall the vision, right? Because when you're in business, it's not just running in your own silo, right? There's a lot of different aspects, and when you learn how something you do impacts a different department, or how something a different department impacts what you do, you get to think on a different level that you've been, right? So you kind of think outside of the box, right? And most time you're working in your department, let's just call it service. You're all about service, but you're not really understanding what you do in service impacts sales, or impacts finance, or impacts HR, but every department affects each other. And when you really truly go to those departments and understand their challenges, and you figure out how you can complement each other, right? We were talking about how as a family we complement each other, and that when you do that as a department, now you're working on the business, right? You're just not solving one problem, you're solving multiple problems. And I think that's been one of my biggest things, is because I was involved in sales and of course heavily in service. I worked very closely with the finance team. I have a little exposure with the HR team, that I kind of know the overall company. And so when I'm building solutions, when I'm talking strategy, I'm not only talking my department, I'm trying to figure out things that will incorporate every single parts of the organization, right? And that's very, very important, because then you're actually moving the needle forward. Whereas in your own silo, you're kind of only moving your own needle forward, right? So we're taking the entire company together. And I think that's very vital. It's never a bad thing to learn about something else in the organization. It might not be your job role, it might not be your job responsibility, but I think being curious and just wanting to understand and wanting to gain more knowledge, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I think that's very, very crucial part. And becoming a leader, I think nowadays, a lot of people become a leader. They're growing in the own positions, right? Let's say you start off in service, you join from engineer, and you get to CTO, even all the way up or wherever. But when you don't have the exposure in the other departments, then when you get to leadership, you have to start thinking about overall, and you kind of don't have that experience. But when you set your foundation as to that, you're kind of working your way up to early success. So it's worked out great for me, and I definitely do recommend everybody just be curious, see what's happening. One thing that I've been telling my team this year is to think very, very differently, to break the status quo and to challenge themselves, right? So it's like challenge yourself to learn about something else, some other department besides yours, just so you understand the business, right? We're here because of our organization, and for us, particularly IT by Design. Think about IT by Design, just don't think about your department, right? That's how you build a future.
Yeah, that is so awesome, KP. I want to make sure that our viewers, our listeners, they don't miss this piece, because that's so important, especially people coming out of colleges, like the young professionals, because that's when opportunities are bigger in companies to go, kind of have different experiences in different divisions, different products, different functions. Because what you said is so powerful, and this is something that can make or break a professional. That is that cross-functional understanding, cross-functional thinking, cross-functional impact. Because majority of the professionals that I have worked with in the past, they think silos. If someone is in sales, they don't care like how the service is going to deliver that sales promise. And if it's service, they may not have that kind of awareness and impact intention for sale. And when you experience all these different areas, one, you get to discover your career interest, like what really makes you happy, right? What activities makes you happy? So it kind of really helps you discover your own gifts. And the second, it makes you kind of a really, really high impact leader when you grow to those roles where result is your responsibility, and a result is going to come from cross-functional teamwork, and there got to be understanding of the thread, like how each department is connected, that connective tissue amongst different departments, and how that connective tissue amongst all these different departments from their own result contribution impacts that one number that is the most important number for the greater good, right? For sustainability, for growth, for everything, for any company to stay healthy, you got to have that strategy, the finance, the strategy, the structure, everything at the top. And when you are a leader where you can think across all those different functions, and you can kind of really connect the dots, and you can kind of really have that exponential impact with your contributions. And let's now get into our culture question, which is really, really near and dear to me. I am very passionate about people and culture. So the question is, how would you describe IT by Design culture?
I'm reflecting, I know we do a lot of the ECW training and things like that, right? And I know, going into the year, we talk about all these mindsets we want to have, right? So I think if I can sum it up in two kind of words there, I think it's very engaging, and it's inclusive, right? So we make everybody feel part of an organization, right? We're not just, most organizations or companies, especially larger ones, you're just one person. Whereas here, we make you feel part of the bigger picture. Your contributions actually add value to where we're going, right? Everybody has clarity. We always talk about clarity. Everybody in the organization has clarity, right? In terms of where we're going. And so I think, community being our core value is at the center of everything we do. And we take, pride in the collaborative mindset that we say, which is great for any culture, right? Because we genuinely care about our community, right? Again, every day we go into it, we say things like family, things like community, and, we do our weekly kickoffs with the team. We do our Go-Givers activity with the team. We have our Life by Design journey, actually taking away from work and helping people become better versions of themselves, focusing on their mental health. So there's just so much we do in the organization that's around our community. And like I said, it's very engaging and it's inclusive. You're making them feel part of a bigger picture, but you're making them feel a part of a family, right? Coming to work, you spend more time at work than you do at home, or probably equal, right? So that's probably, everybody says your work is your second home, right? But there's a difference that, when people say, hey, you have a house, it's different than saying you're having a home, right? A house is a building, right? A home is something you build. And so I think that's what I describe as culture here, is that we build a home. And, if I would sum it up, I can keep going on about culture and that, but I think that's probably a good sentiment for me to add, close on here, is that, it's inclusive, it's engaging, community's at the center of everything we do. And we generally do care. And the reason is because we've built a home. And that's very, very important.
Yeah, I love that. I love that house and home thinking, because there is a huge difference and a lot of people don't understand it. It's easier to build a house, but it's difficult and ongoing work to build a home, right? Yeah. And the house, anyone can buy, right? And all you need is money. And with home, you need a really good heart, and you need, that head as well. And, you need that care. You need that resilience to continue work and kind of really build your home, right? And materialistic thinking versus human-centric thinking. That is what you need. I think that really sums it up, that we build home for our community members, our team members at work, where when they are not in their personal life at home, they have a home during their work life as well. And that home is a healthy home built on collaborative way practices. And can you kind of really briefly describe what do you mean by collaborative way?
Yeah, so we've been doing this great, amazing training, and one of the constant things that we do here is all about having the growth mindset, right? Learning something different. So collaborative way is pretty much these principles that we've been learning about that really help foster going back to collaboration, not just in your work life with other people, right? We're talking about how do you listen generously, how do you speak straight, right? Things of that nature, and it just not doesn't help you in the work environment, but it helps you as a person, it helps you at home, right? So it's more about how are you actively listening to your team. It's all around the community, it's all around the culture, right? How you're basically collaborating, but it's just basic principles that you don't really think about, or you do think about, but you're just not intentional about. And I think that's one great thing that we've been doing in our organization, especially as a leadership team, is continuing to focus on our collaboration, which really helps us to grow at the speed that we're growing at.
That's so awesome. Okay, so thank you, KP. And now my third and last question is, what are the greatest life lessons? So if you can share 3 greatest lessons, life lessons that you have learned, and if you can probably put it in maybe words format first, and then we go a little bit deeper into those 3 areas, word or a line. What are the 3 lessons in terms of a headline?
I guess there's a lot. There's a lot. So I'm not going to say these are my top 3, because there's a lot. And I always reflect on this, right? Like even coming close to, closing 2022, I'm reflecting, hey, what did I learn this year? So there's just a lot there. But I think one of the biggest ones that always stands out, and you hear it a lot, and then, when you hear something a lot, it kind of loses meaning. But I don't think this one loses meaning, and that's the growth mindset, right? That you must be willing to learn something new. You must have an open mind. You must be willing to try something new, right? So it's like, that is probably one. And the second one is the one that I've been fostering, and maybe it's recency bias because I've been thinking about this a lot more recently, but it's think different, think bigger, think outside of the box, think long-term, right? You have to be able to think on a different wavelength. Sometimes we only touch the surface when we're thinking. We never dig deeper than that. And I think it's really important, and it's a huge life lesson for me as I'm getting to my, my tenure here, and in my journey overall in my career, that I'm learning that, once you start thinking differently, once you start challenging the status quo, great things come out of that. It's not a bad thing, right? So I think that's another life lesson, and that could be at home too. It could be at home, it could be personal life or work. And then the last thing I think really resonated, and as we're talking about the new generation, right? I think one thing that always comes up, and we're growing up in an era now where social media is very, very popular. It's key. Like, every day people are influencing each other, and I think one of the things that's important to know is that you need to focus on your own journey and your own dreams. They say that the only person you should be in a competition with is yourself from yesterday. So all you have to do is strive to be a better person than you were yesterday. When you start comparing, and when you start focusing on somebody else's journey, you will never reach that. We call it the destination. I don't know if the destination ever, is even a place, right? When it comes to our careers, maybe it's just a lifelong journey, but your journey will be much more happier, much more fruitful, much more meaningful when you focus on yourself rather than comparing and trying to get to somebody else's journey. Maybe I went a little off topic here, but
no.
But those are probably the 3. And I wanted to change it up and kind of think from what can impact new generation, what can think in terms of your own self growth and development, right? And what one thing or a top quality would be good as a leader. So I kind of, I think hitting the box on one of those. But like I said, I have so many life lessons that, I learned over the years.
Yeah. No, those are great lessons. And thank you for sharing those. So the last thing that you said is so important, because even in my life, I have very recently got that overall awareness at a very deeper level. What does it mean? When you say, don't compare yourself with others, right? Your competition should be just you in comparison to yesterday.
Yep.
And what I heard you say is more of don't compare with others, and you should measure your success with your past, in reference to your past, rather than in reference to someone else. Don't compare yourself with someone's virtual life. And this is something that's so important for my kids, because I don't spend too much time on social media. The only social media platform that I spend an hour to 2 hours in a week is LinkedIn. And even that is more teamwork with my friend, our social media team members. And I just kind of really create rather than consume on LinkedIn. And more of lesson for kids. And I share this with every day because it is something new for this generation, and it's kind of really impacting them really negatively, because no matter what they're achieving, they keep comparing themselves with someone's virtual life, and they kind of really get kind of whatever feelings that they're going through, and they're just not having that sense of the satisfaction with themselves, that sanity that they need in life. And that peace, that internal peace, will only come from what you said. If you can be, you can be a better version of yourself, and you compare your future today in reference to your own past. And if you look back, like just a reference point, 25 years ago, if where KP is today, from his intellectual capabilities, from his anything that you look at, from the overall, the mindset, the experience and everything, and your financial situation, your every situation, in reference to 25 years ago. Did you know that you're going to be a VP of transformation and strategy and all that good stuff 25 years ago? You were not.
No.
So there's so much pride and so much excitement when you look at your today's situation in reference to your past, and especially when you're a person of learning and development and continuous evolution. You always going to make that 1% progress, and always going to have 100x bigger future, no matter where you are, what's working, not working. So it's so important for people to kind of really not miss this piece. Now, can you sum it up for me? 3 lessons. So so growth mindset was number 1.
Growth mindset. The second one was think different, think bigger,
different.
think long term. Right?
Okay.
There's a lot to that. So it's,
yes,
again, if you want, challenge the status quo. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to fail. Growth always comes outside of the comfort zone, right? And the one way to sum that one up as well, about the think bigger, there's a saying that always goes around, and I grew up hearing this all the time, and it says, work hard, play hard, right? And I like to challenge that because, working hard is important. Yes, it's very, very important. You have to work hard in your initial journey. But when you get to a certain point in your journey and a certain point in your life, you need to also figure out how to work smart. It's not always about working harder. And people have that misconception. I'm going to work hard my entire life. That's great. But you need to know the difference between what is you working hard, right? That's kind of doing that. But when you're challenging, when you're thinking different, when you're doing things big term and long term and thinking bigger picture, you're actually working smarter. Right. And that's the way to shift your mindset. And so that's what I mean by that one. That's learn to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And that is where the same hard work, because hard work has a limitation in terms of total 168 hours we have available to us in a week. right? With everything that we have to do in life, along with that, whatever you do for work, hard work has a limit, but smart work don't have a limit.
Nope.
It's exponential kind of expansion that you can have, right? That expansion that you can have with smart work in terms of your exponential impact there is no limit there, but there is a limit in terms of how many hours you can work. So beautifully explained there, KP, and that is so important. So growth mindset, think different, think long term. And any last thought that you want to share with us before we close this? Thank you so much for coming, KP.
No, I think, and one of the other big ones that we miss is that focus on your own journey and dreams, right? I want to make sure we capture that one, because that one I truly lived being in the generation that I grew up in and things like that. And so that's very, very important. But there's one more thing that I think is very, very important, as we close, and this is for the new generation that's coming on. I think one very, very important key into everybody's role, they always talk about your environment, the people you associate yourself with. I think it's very important to find a mentor, right? Find somebody who not that you want to be exactly like them, but resembles the type of journey that you want to be on, or has the knowledge and wisdom that they can help you with. Everybody needs a mentor in life, whether it's you, whether it's me, doesn't matter. Everybody needs a mentor, a coach. And so I think that's kind of my last kind of closing statement here, is that when you find somebody that is going to help coach and guide you through your journey, it just becomes a lot more meaningful. But at the same time, there's a lot of advantages for you in there. So I think that's the last part that I want to stick in there. But Sunny, thank you so much for having me. This is a great way to start. They always say you start off your mornings in a positive way. And I mean, this was a great way to start off my morning here. And so thank you so much for having me. And I hope we can, do this again sometime. This was, people usually come into these things and like, oh, I'm nervous and that. And I'm loving it. I hope we'll come back again.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your thinking. I appreciate you, your teamwork, and your impact, your contributions so far, and much more to come. The impact that you're making is huge on this ITBD community. You have already transformed a lot of lives here. And whenever I talk to different people in different functions, and they always admire you, the way you think, the way you lead, the way you make an impact in their personal and professional lives. So a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratitude. I have a lot of gratitude. I feel a lot of gratitude for you to be in my life and having this journey with me. And I have a lot of gratitude for that, KP. Just one last reminder that I want us to have for our viewers is focus on this quarter. Whatever your vision of success is for this year, and if you're taking anything which is your actionable from this knowledge sharing that we are doing, focus to apply in this quarter. Don't be stressed out about the entire year results or destination that you're talking about. So start the journey with anything that you want to adopt in your life with this thinking sharing, with this experience sharing. Start today. So just focus on this quarter, focus on this year, and have a wonderful, wonderful 2023. Thank you once again, KP.
Thank you, Sunny.